want to get back to the top story of the day, the advance on Baghdad that we've been getting from our embedded reporters. Also the story of Jessica Lynch. Major General Don Shepard with us back at the CNN Center. Before we get to the Republican Guard, I don't know if you have the video queued up or not, Don, but if we do, let's roll it and show what we all watched from the CENTCOM briefing about 2 hours ago. What did you take away from that operation, largely conducted by Navy SEALs, supported by the Marines?
Yeah, Bill, basically I think there's involvement of a lot of people. It was based obviously on local intelligence that identified that Jessica Lange was in that hospital. You don't just launch these looking for people. This evidently, from various reports, was Army Rangers, U.S. Marines, Navy SEALs, and perhaps Special Forces as well, all supported by air power. Not only did they get Jessica Lynch, reportedly they brought back 11 bodies to be examined, possibly some of the missing United States military builds. An amazing operation, all conducted under darkness, night vision goggles, and it was done by landing the helicopters in the compound. It's an amazing operation.
And good news, too. Don, let's talk about the Republican Guard. I don't know if you have the map queued up, but if you do, let's show our viewers where you believe right now the majority of the Republican Guard divisions are now assembled and how much degradation has been handed to these forces on the ground.
Yeah, Bill, if we can bring up the map, basically what it amounts to is that the Republican Guard has been pounded for the better part of a week by United States air power wherever they are. I'm going to remove one symbol from the map here. Reportedly, the Baghdad division has been destroyed. And basically what's happened, and I'll go over here and try to illustrate a little bit, we have three thrusts going on. The Marines have moved across the Tigris River in the vicinity of Al-Qut and are headed toward Baghdad. The 3rd Infantry Division has encircled and is moving north of Kabbalah, reportedly some within 20 miles of Baghdad. And the 101st Airborne is over here on the left side, supposedly through the Karbala Gap. All of this is good news in that it appears that Baghdad is being encircled, but there's lots of tough fighting. We should not beat our breast yet. Remember, the tactics of the Iraqi military when fighting the Iranians were to withdraw, launch chemical attacks, and then go back and clean up. So there could be lots of tough fighting in Baghdad, or it could be that coalition forces are welcome with flowers. Lots to be determined, Bill, but there won't be a headlong rush into Baghdad. Clearly advances on Baghdad.
Take it a step further. If you listen to Marty, if you listen to Walt, if you listen to Carl, they say minimum resistance right across the board. What explains that? Does it strike you, as it strikes some of us here in Kuwait, that it might be just a bit too easy right now?
Yes, indeed. You have to be very cautious about these things. Reportedly, the Baghdad was just hammered by air power, and the Marines, as they're moving toward Baghdad, north of Al-Qut, are receiving very little resistance, sporadic fire. Karbala, where the Medina Division was also pounded by air power, has been encircled very quickly. In fact, the battle there, which was expected to be fierce, only took about 3 hours. So I believe that coalition air power has weakened these divisions substantially, but as they withdraw toward Baghdad, they will be reinforced by other Republican Guard divisions and, of course, regular Iraqi Army divisions from around the country. All of this, though, as it's moving, is very vulnerable to air power again, Bill. The Iraqi military is in a world of hurt. It is a matter of time.
Major General Don Shepard, thanks. You pointed out the threat of chemical and biological weapons. Walt Rogers says the 7th Cav wearing those suits right now as they advance further in the general direction, as Walt says, of Baghdad. Thanks, Don. Here's Paula now in New York.
Thanks, Bill. A Time Magazine report this week says the Iraqi military is using the book Black Hawk Down as a manual for defeating the U.S. military. As you know, the story is a chilling account of what happened to American forces in Mogadishu in 1993. When an operation targeting a Somali warlord went horribly wrong. 18 U.S. servicemen lost their lives. The author of Black Hawk Down, Mark Bowden, has also written a profile on Saddam Hussein for Atlantic Monthly, and Mark joins us now to discuss Saddam's war strategy. Good morning. Thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome, Paula.
Tell me a little bit about your reaction when you heard that the Iraqis were using your book as a training manual for what they might expect when coalition forces come.
Well, it was the kind of thing that, you know, I think it's the kind of stupid thing that Saddam might just do because the sort of glib understanding of what happened in Mogadishu in 1993 was that American forces were overwhelmed and defeated. But in fact, if you read the book, or even if you see the film, you realize that the mission that they conducted that day was a success, basically, although, you know, they obviously encountered terrific odds. But it also is a tribute to the determination and courage of the American soldier. So if the idea is to convince people that you can make the United States give up and go away by killing a few of its soldiers, which is the overall lesson that a lot of people, I think, drew from our experience in Somalia, certainly my book and the movie put the lie to that notion.
Now, also, I understand the American military officials have asked troops to study this book, look at the movie. What is the lesson learned for them?
Well, I think the truth is that the Battle of Mogadishu was the most significant combat that American forces have faced in many, many years, certainly the most significant firefight. And so I think it makes perfect sense that the military would want to study what happened there and learn lessons from what happened there, just as their enemies are trying to learn ways of defeating our forces. So, I mean, it isn't my book that's so important, it's the event that was so important, and so it really doesn't surprise me that it would be studied by everyone.
And when you saw this amazing video this morning of this daring rescue of Private First Class Jessica Lynch, and you saw who all was involved, from the Army to the Marines to Special Ops, what does that indicate to you about willing to take this kind of chance at this time?
Well, I think that anyone who believes that the United States lacks determination to see this mission through is making a big mistake, because I don't believe that the United States military ever had any kind of timidity, although I do think there was a kind of political timidity about using American power during the 1990s. So I think that vanished on September 11th, 2001. Monthly, and I write a column for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I'm working on a book about the Iran hostage crisis.
Well, you'll have to come back and talk to us again when you're done with all that.
Be happy to
Mark
do
Bowden,
it.
thank you again for your time this morning.
Paula.
We're coming up on the top of the hour. We're going to take a short break here, and when we come back to you, we'll have the headlines of the day for you. We'll be right back.
Depression is a serious medical condition that affects your mood and disrupts your daily life. While the cause is unknown, a chemical imbalance could be the reason. Prescription Zoloft works to correct this imbalance. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking MAOIs or Pimozide shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Ask your doctor about Zoloft. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
Are you ready to save $200? Gateway announces $200 off our fully featured 300S home desktop, featuring an Intel 2.2 gigahertz processor, plus a CDRW DVD combo, a 17-inch monitor, and of course, shipping's always included. Are you ready? Call, click, or come in today for Ready Tech Go savings, only from Gateway, featuring the Intel Celeron processor.
Decided. Once again, CNN is number one for trust and experience. Americans choose CNN as the most credible news source. More than MSNBC or Fox News. More than any network, newspaper, or magazine. CNN is the most trusted name in news. CNN Tonight as troops gear up for the big push to Baghdad, the latest from the front lines and with the troops, plus former Secretary of State Alexander Haig, only on Larry King Live, CNN Tonight, 9 Eastern.